And now I would like to ask all NRBP members in the audience to please raise your hands. It's just about everybody. I love it. It's my favorite part of all of our events. So thank you for your continued engagement and support of the business community in our region. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the incredible NRBP staff. We have Maya Curry, who may not be in we have Ricky Drake, who is helping to check you in at registration, and Kirsten Giorgi, who is not with us today because she's currently on vacation in New Zealand. But they've worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make events like this and all of our initiatives a success. So please join me in a round of applause for their dedication. We also have 2 volunteers assisting us today. Jamir Wade and Kimberly Butler Rosado. I don't know if they're in the room, but we'll see. Jamir was helping directing you to the cafeteria, and Kim was helping to check in. So it is now my pleasure to bring up Dr. Augustine Boachi. He's president of Essex County College, and he will give us a brief welcome on behalf of today's host, the college. So, Dr. Boachi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, that was a good response. And welcome to Essex County College once again. Today's event is as we talk about eye-opener. And we have a great media here to listen to him and also to share among ourselves, to look at where we are in the future. I think this conversation is perfectly fit to be at the college, because when you talk about the future, we need education. That will always brighten us and guide us to the future. And if we talk about education, especially higher ed, then Essex County College comes first, because this is the place where we change lives every day. For many, many years, since 1968 to today, the college is continually doing greater things to support the community, not just individuals, not just families, but also businesses. I shared a mini brochure that I would like you to take a look at it. A few things that I wanted to share with you, I put it in writing so that you can see and later call us for more explanation or details. But the truth is that this institution just last month graduated 1,300 students from the school. And if you take this into consideration and spread them, 1,300 students will represent so many families. So that's bigger than those individuals who graduated. Among them, we have 135 students who just finished high school. So last month, whilst they are receiving their Essex County College associate degree, they are also graduating this year. So they were able to graduate with a high school diploma and the college degree, and we're able to work with our partners together. The college, as you see, serving about 13,000 students, 3,000 plus for the workforce development. That 3,500 or more that are in our workforce development, 53%. I want to repeat this, 53% of those we are training are Newark residents. Wow. That means more than, yes, out of all the municipalities and townships we have, most of them are Newark residents. And if you take out about the credit side, the degree seeking, 47% of our total population are Newark residents. So there are many, many things you will see here from just this mini brochure. But I just want to assure you that what we do in this college is just to brighten our industries, brighten our businesses, and also make our city better and beautiful. I'll be glad that you get involved with the college, because whatever you do for the college, you're doing for the greater community. If you want to be part of our foundation board, I gave you a person you should contact on this. If you want to be part of our Laptop for Learning initiative, which we started last month, we'll be glad that you look at the link I have provided. If you want to be part of anything you believe we can partner on to make our city and our community better today and for the future, please reach out, and we're here to work with you. I want to take the opportunity to thank Ms. Famala for listening. Let's give her and her team a good round of applause. For always being such a great leader, pulling us together to do better things. I also want to recognize our board of trustee members who stopped everything they were doing today and said, if Mayor is coming here and all the great people are coming here, we will stop by and say hi to them. Trustee Arnold Lewis, please. He is our board chair. We also have Trustee Norma Gonzalez, who is also here. And I have a few administrators here who are really involved in everything we do. Please, can you stand to recognize all the cabinet members? So thank you very much. Please enjoy every aspect of this event. And Mayor, once again, you are welcome home. Mayor Baraka, this is your place. Thank you very much.
So I want to thank Dr. Boachi for those warm words of welcome, and again for being our host sponsor. It's very important for us when someone raises their hand to host an event at their campus, on their campus. Host sponsorship, this is just a plug, includes donating your venue, catering, and parking if that's possible. That's a big gift for us, and so we greatly appreciate that. So now it's my distinct honor to host a conversation with a leader who is tirelessly working to shape Newark's present and future. So Mayor Raz J. Baraka.
How you doing?
Feeling blessed. Okay, I gotta get situated. You know how I do. Am I good? Okay.
I don't know if I'm good.
So Mayor, first and foremost, congratulations on your most recent re-election. So it is a testament to your ongoing commitment to our city, and we are honored to have you with us.
Thank you.
We know your schedule is incredibly demanding, and we truly appreciate you making the time for this important civic discussion year after year after year. So this is, for those of you who are new to NRBP, this is a staple signature event that we've been having with the mayor and his predecessor. And so we really appreciate the fact that you are taking the time to learn more about the city that you live in or work in or go to school and study in. So today's conversation will focus exclusively on the progress and future of Newark. Our goal is to gain insights into the city's strategic direction, upcoming initiatives, and the economic landscape that directly impacts our businesses and communities. So let's begin. We'll start with community development. So Mayor, let's start with the heart of our city, and it is the communities, right? The diversity that exists throughout the city within the various wards. Beyond specific redevelopment projects that we often hear about, what is your administration's long-term vision for fostering a greater sense of community, cohesion, and resident empowerment across all of Newark's diverse neighborhoods. So that's another way of asking you, how can we break through some of the silos that exist within the city? And there's so much deep pride and passion in the neighborhoods and the wards, but sometimes it can cause some insular communities. And so how do we break through that and make it a cohesive city?
Well, actually, I think the nonprofit community in the city works very well together. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have gotten through COVID. We wouldn't be able to deal with the food insecurity that we're dealing with now. Standing up 5 mutual aid grocery stores in a couple of weeks because of ICC, La Casa de Don Pedro, Clinton Hill Community Action, all of these organizations coming together and working together, and using their resources, actually sharing resources with one another, and the city with them. As people talk about what's happening in New York, they don't know in Newark, we're standing up 5 stores in a couple of weeks, because of the nonprofit organizations that exist here. So I think that, the nonprofit community in the city of Newark and the community-based organizations that work here have learned for some time now that working by themselves is not the thing to do, that being collective and collaborative is the way to get these problems solved, and also helps you lift heavier objects. I think because of COVID, people realized, and because of this government we're in now where funding is scarce, people are forced to lean on each other. And I think that has been a good thing for us in the city of Newark. So that does exist. We do have a level of pride, and the city does get insular, start talking about folks that are coming from the outside. There's a kind of automatic mistrust from the beginning, but the history of our city has proven that we should look a little side-eyed at some folks that come to our community. But at the end of the day, I think when you have a good product, a good program, people are willing to come together and support that, no matter what neighborhood or what community they're from. In fact, the things that we do good, we've done together.
So I love the fact that you mentioned nonprofits. So the Newark Regional Business Partnership is a chamber of commerce.
Right.
And it's a member-based organization, and most of the members historically are for-profit entities, whether they're small businesses, solopreneurs, or the Fortune 500s. What I find unique about the Newark Regional Business Partnership is we have a large contingent of nonprofits. Mm-hmm. It makes my job interesting because I need to be able to balance the needs of both communities so that they each find value in their membership and the dues that they pay. I actually wanted to take a moment for anyone here who is a 501c3 to raise your hand. So this is not typical in most chambers. And I do think it speaks to what your answer was, that the way you kind of break through the silos is through the community-based organizations that are getting the job done, boots on the ground. So love that answer. Moving on to economic development. Newark is a city of incredible growth. As major infrastructure projects continue to advance, how is the city strategically working to ensure that local Newark businesses and residents directly benefit through job creation, procurement opportunities, and sustained economic growth?
Well, everything we do, the caveat is that you have to hire Newark residents. I mean, that's old now in the city. When people come here, they already know that that's part of the boilerplate. Like, you have to hire Newark residents, you have to have a minority co-developer on a project. You can't even come into the building unless you have a diverse group of folks with you. Folks know that already. So at the end of the day, we've been doing that now for a decade in the city, that our procurement strategy in the cities on the city side is a lot higher than the county and the state and everybody else in terms of how we procure goods and services. And we're pledging even to double that in the city, just from the city side. You know, the work that we do with other folks, when they do business in the city, we make them hire minority subcontractors. We make them hire Newark residents in the process. So we do that, and that's not just through the Office of Affirmative Action. We do that through contracts, and that's the best way in our mind to get people to adhere to it by putting it directly in their contract.
Okay, that's good. I also want to touch on Newark's Creative Pulse. So you recently launched a City of Creators, a fantastic public art initiative activating vacant downtown real estate storefronts. So it's brought the broader, it's in the broader context of Kick It with Newark campaign, which is energizing the city throughout the World Cup season and beyond. Can you talk about how the ecosystem for these public arts, it's not just as a decoration, but as a vital tool that connects artists, residents, and small businesses to sustain the neighborhood economy? So, you know, arts as business in Newark.
Yeah, that's something that we've been doing before FIFA came. We just used FIFA as an opportunity to elevate it. We have been doing murals across the city. We have a artist fund that we fund art and throughout the city. We started in 2019, 2020 when COVID was here, and we kept it alive, funding murals, funding public art, funding sculptures, funding plays, funding galleries. We do this because we know that the economy is fueled by art. As a matter of fact, I think art is the answer for most things that exist. Art is the answer for social cohesion, for opportunity and education, for enlightenment, for the reduction of violence and crime. I think it's an answer for economic growth. People go to New York because they go into a play or movies or a museum, or New York draws people because of the art. And it's the same thing in Newark. And Newark has always been a community of artists. Folks used to play in New York, but play in Newark, you know. So, they would go to Radio City and then come to Newark and play in the clubs in the city of Newark. We've always had a history of art and culture that was blossoming in Newark. And we just wanted to revitalize that to create not just a nightlife in our city, but also have an opportunity for walking traffic, bring people in to see the different culture in our city, the diverse communities, eat different foods, because food is also culture and art, right? So the opportunity to highlight fashion, highlight all the other things that Newark has been known for. We want to do that, and we have been trying to lean in on that as our opportunity, our saving grace, the thing that makes us stand out from everybody else in the state.
That's great. So I'm going to go off script a little bit. So there's a video clip, well, no, it's more than a clip, where it's you doing your spoken word, and it's, different scenes about Newark that I see every now and then. Do you know what video I'm talking about?
I think so.
I love that video. Like, I absolutely, every time I see it, I'm like, why am I not seeing this every day? Like, I love it. So that's my question. Why am I not seeing that every day?
It's a good question. Maybe we get some of the businesses in the Newark Regional Business Partnership to invest in that and make sure.
Okay. I knew there was going to be one NRBP singer throughout the court during this conversation. But yeah, if that's what needs to happen, you know me, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
Because I love that video. I think it's great.
Get Prudential to put it on the thing every time there's an event or a game. Let them play that first.
Right?
United Airlines to put it in the airport.
Because you all know which one I'm talking about, right? And it's so well done. And I think there's only one reference in there that's out of date. There's a business that's mentioned in there that's no longer in business, but everything else is current about it. I just saw it at Savor Newark.
Right.
They played it, and again, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I really should see this every day. So that's on my to-do list, so thank you for the suggestion. So moving to public safety. Diversifying our economy and fostering community cohesion are deeply intertwined with the fundamental need for public safety. What innovative programs or initiatives are currently underway to further enhance community police relations and reduce crime rates, particularly focusing on youth engagement and crime prevention efforts across the city?
Well, I think we've been doing an incredible job in that area. So people all over the country have been coming to Newark to learn what it is that we've been doing here. I mean, we've reduced violent crime to the era of like the 1950s, right? So the homicide rate in the city has not been this low since 1953. So at the end of the day, it is because we created this ecosystem of community violence intervention organizations, hospital-based intervention. People aren't even aware of how extensive that ecosystem is. They see a couple of things at the council meeting. They see like one hood or community violence or the deputy mayor. They don't know we have hospital-based intervention. Like there are doctors and nurses that are participating in this. There's social workers that are participating in this, as well as some nurses in the hospital know more about the programs that kids and people can be offered and go into than some of the people that live in the city every day. They're trained to have this information. That kind of ecosystem and continuing to strengthen that is what we need to do. We have been a lot focused on helping other people get there. Set up Baltimore, Chicago, Birmingham, all the people you see in the press, East St. Louis. All of these folks have Minneapolis, Minnesota. All these folks have been here to Newark, right? And we and us out there, the deputy mayor, some of the guys that's working in the community, going out there as well. But we really have to really figure out how to take all of this stuff and create, operating procedures like manuals, guidelines, really codify this work and make it more professional and add more technology to it. And I think this, like when the world was talking about defunding the police, we were talking about putting public back in public safety, expanding police services, that doesn't just involve police, that it involves social workers, that it involves community outreach workers, that it involves doctors and nurses. So treating it as a public health issue, not just cops on a dot.
Right, so it's its own ecosystem in and of itself, and a lot of stakeholders involved in making sure that it is as robust to address the various issues that are at the root of crime.
In fact, in Atlantic City, there's a conference in a couple of days in Atlantic City. Chicago, New York, everybody's coming to Atlantic City, and Newark is gonna be down there doing a lot of work with those organizations from those multiple cities, talking about how to further reduce violence and crime across cities nationally, especially in an environment where that work is being treated as hostile. Where under the Biden administration, they raised hundreds of millions of dollars to feed these organizations. That money has completely gone away.
So I have a public relations background, and so the storytelling, how do we get these stories of success outside of Newark, so that people are still thinking about Newark in a way that is antiquated, right? So if you go out at lunch during the lunch hour, downtown corridor, it's a wonderful place to be, right? But so many people seem to not be aware of what Newark today looks like. How can we help with the storytelling?
One, we, the city, we have to do a better job at that internally, just down in my wheelhouse. We have to do a better job in telling our stories and not relying on the press to tell a story for you, because that's not their job. That's our job. and we have to do a better job at that. But ultimately, I think, organizations like this and individuals have to also be ambassadors for the city. I mean, you have to understand that it also helps your business, it helps your program, it helps what you have going on to tell the good news about what's happening in the city. You can't just walk around with your lip poked out all the time. You have to be a part of advertising what's good in the city in order to build what it is that you're trying to build. It makes no sense to cut off your nose to spite your face, right? You have to be out here telling the stories of the transformation of what's going on in this town. This is definitely not the Newark I grew up in. I mean, you don't have to like me, but I'm telling you, I was born and raised here in this town, right? I know what it was in 1986, in 1996, and in 2006, and what it's like in 2026, right? I know that because I was born and raised here, so I know there's a complete and marked difference. Even simply of how the police relate to civilians is completely different, right? It is something that people need to be talking about all over the place. We have an immense level of challenges still, like any major city in America, because the system we live in still exists. So we still have that over our heads, and then pushing back on a lot of things. And then the environment we live in is making these situations more intense, which means it's forcing us to do more and be more creative at the things that we do. But our resilience and the beauty of the things that are happening in small and large spots in the city should be told by the residents who are creating these things and experiencing this. The best things that happen in Newark happen in people's neighborhoods and blocks created by them, not by me, in City Hall.
So NRBP has a 501c3 affiliate called Renaissance Newark Foundation. And one of our initiatives is called Navigating Newark. And the whole premise is to get people to go outside. So it's targeted at newcomers. So you're either a new business in Newark, you're a new resident in Newark, you're a new student, or you're a new employee in Newark. And it's a curated program where we learn about the history of Newark, but also we do tours. We've collaborated with Have You Met Newark, which is Antonio's back there, to get people to go outside and I call getting outside and to linger. So you're getting outside at lunchtime, but then when the day is done, you're lingering in the city, you're going to happy hours, you're meeting friends to go to dinner, you're coming back on Saturday and Sunday. So that was kind of the whole premise of that program. And you'd be amazed at how much people don't know about the city, and they work here every day, Monday through Friday. So that's what that initiative was about. Now I'm going to go to infrastructure. So addressing public safety often requires robust underlying infrastructure. We commend your administration for the successful completion of the lead pipe replacement program, a truly monumental achievement for public health and safety. So with that critical project behind us, what are the next key infrastructure priorities for Newark, particularly in areas like public transportation, connectivity, and proactively addressing climate change impacts?
So we're still, by the way, investing in our water and sewer infrastructure. It is one of the oldest in the nation, so we still have to spend tens of millions of dollars to upgrade the water mains. Some of them were made out of wood, right? Lined with wood. So we still always are doing that. And flood mitigation through our zoning laws, changing the zoning laws, and partnering with developers to make sure that when they're building, they also are assisting us in extending water capacity, and at the same time creating flood mitigation. We're building rain ditches across the city to absorb. There's a nice, beautiful one on Clinton Avenue we just built. I think we built like 3. We're going to continue to build those to help us with flood mitigation in areas that are low-lying. And because of these storms that are happening so very often, we're getting storms in areas where we never got storms at before. I mean, floods in areas where we never got floods at before. Okay. So we are taking our public parks and building ditches under the public park so they can contain water and release slowly. So we're doing that kind of work around flooding. We're doing work around the heat index. We've planted over 1,000 trees. We're getting ready to start painting the rooftops, starting with city buildings white, right? There are different kind of simple, low-hanging fruit that we can do before we invest huge amounts of money into reducing the temperature in the city. And it has a lot of a lot of benefits, right, and sub-benefits of reducing the temperature in the city. Besides asthma and asthma rates that are high in the community, it also has an impact on stress and violence at the same time. So we're working hard at doing that as well, and dealing with the particulate matter in the air. With my help, with us in Jersey City, we, lobbied the governor to make sure they didn't extend that bridge or make the lanes longer, wider, so we have more trucks coming into our city. We got them to fix the bridge, but not widen the lanes or add more trucks, because that would have hurt us. Port Newark or the PNC terminal, working with those guys, they have done tremendous work and are doing tremendous work to kind of provide more technology on the port that would reduce the emissions coming out of there. Especially for the folks in the Ironbound and in the South Ward that are impacted the most by the particulate matter that comes out of the moving of ships and trucks and goods and services out of that area. So the environment is always on our mind, and we pushing hard to make sure we use our funding, a little bit that we have, to do whatever we can around infrastructure.
Awesome. So moving on to affordable housing. So reliable infrastructure supports all aspects of urban life, including access to stable housing. A critical challenge many cities face, including Newark, is affordable housing. What specific strategies and partnerships is the city pursuing to accelerate the creation and preservation of genuinely affordable housing units for residents across various income levels?
Yeah, when you say genuine, I think all affordable housing is genuine. I just think that there's a lot of, affordable means so much in America at this point, right? I mean, so when people think affordability, they have one person's picture in their head, which is why people don't invest in affordable housing, and they don't want to do it nationally or statewide, because they think they thinking about us, right? As opposed to, there are a lot of people who need affordable. A kid coming home from college needs affordable housing, right? Yep. Somebody that's moving from job to job needs affordable housing, right? So it has a lot of faces on it. So when you talk about deep affordability that the federal government has abandoned, which is about, at this point, 30% of the area median income in the city of Newark, we are getting ready to try to sponsor legislation on the local side to see if we can abandon HUD's AMI and use the AMI specifically for the city of Newark. We've been talking to our lawyers about trying to make that happen.
Yeah. So how does that look? Does that look like it's going to be successful?
I mean, it can be. There's going to be pushback. We just need to be prepared for what that looks like and what the gaps are going to be, because building in New Jersey is incredibly expensive, and those gaps have to be filled, or there is a huge market, because affordable housing also means if you live in Manhattan or Jersey City, you can't afford it. So coming to Newark is an affordable move for you. So there's a market for people who are moving away from a place that is saturated with a rents are like $5,000 a month, right? Or $3,500 a month. So $2,000 a month is affordable housing for those people. So they come to Newark looking for affordable housing. But somebody that's used to paying $750 to $800 get clearly pushed out of that market. And so that's why you need various kind of affordability up and down the spectrum in order to save a myriad of different people and build an economy that can support itself, at the same time, right? So everybody doesn't need 30% of the AMI. Everybody doesn't need 40% of the AMI, right? There's some workforce housing that needs to be developed as well for teachers and secretaries and sanitation workers and folks like that who are making too much money for affordability but not enough for the market.
Right.
So that's important for us to build housing for those folks as well. But I'm gonna tell you this, the people that are building the fastest and the best and the smartest are nonprofit organizations.
Okay. So I'm thinking about Urban League of Essex County is probably an excellent.
Urban League, like my brother over there, Lincoln Park, all these folks, they're building, and the return on investment is not the primary goal of nonprofit organizations, right? Obviously, they need to make money to sustain themselves and feed themselves. So I don't want to tell you that people nonprofit should be working for free. That's ridiculous. But the return on investment is not top of mind. They're not trying to get all of this money up front very fast. And so the ability for them to be creative about what they do in partnership with the city is tremendous. They should be allowed to build more housing and given the tools to do that across the state of New Jersey at a faster rate. It takes us too long. We're one of the first cities that created inclusionary zoning, by the way, in New Jersey. Probably one of the first 10 in the country, right, to be able to do it. We put 20% affordability in our property. The state adopted that as well. Using HUD's AMI, we've been building housing, but not as fast as we should, as fast as the market is going, because the way these projects are funded automatically slows the process down, right? Because it's project by project by project by project. And you actually have to wait, and we're in competition to get these projects built. So the only way we're gonna reduce the cost of housing is to build more, but not just in Newark. We have to build more across the region and across the state, right? Because that'll automatically drop prices if people can go to the market and get affordable housing across the marketplace. Then it forces the market to turn to a renter's market as opposed to a seller's market, right? And that's what we need. And because there's not a lot of choice, owners charge what they want to charge, right? They take people's rent from $800 to $1,200 in 2 days. And we're basically fighting to keep people's rent through the Office of Tenant Legal Services, rent control, all of those things. But ultimately, we need more housing built across the state. Yeah.
And so who should be driving that, though? Because this collaboration across urban areas, suburban areas, like, how is that? To me, it looks like it requires leadership. So, like, where is that coming from to make that happen?
I think at this point, most people are afraid to do it. Like when we first started saying inclusionary zoning, people say, oh, they're gonna stop building in Newark. Nobody's gonna build anything. Y'all just got started. You're gonna put inclusionary zoning. You're gonna halt the progress in Newark. Now we know today that that's a lie, right? That didn't happen. In fact, it accelerated. And what people do is put it in their performer. Eventually, that's right in their performer. They know that 20% affordability is going to be in there. I'm going to put it how am I going to fill this gap, right? And so they go to the state, they go to the city, trying to find ways to fill the gap. Other financial institutions to fill the gap. So somebody has to make a decision about what that's going to be, 20, 30, 40%, whatever it is. What AMI are we going to use? Figure out financially what the performer looks like to get this built. Then we need leadership from the state, right? Point blank, period. The state has to declare a state of emergency around housing in the state of New Jersey, period. Transform the zoning laws and get it done. Like we can't build affordable housing by ourselves in Newark. We just can't, because everybody can't live in Newark. We love them too, they just can't live here. We don't have no space for them.
Very good. I also sense that you're very concerned about displacement of Newark residents and small businesses based in Newark. And can you talk about, I think because you're born and raised in Newark, right? Newark through and through, as a mayor, you really get the city and the heartbeat of what makes it thrive, and your passion for making sure that the people who started here stay here and prosper here. Can you talk about your vision for, or strategy for making sure that everybody who started in Newark gets a fair shake?
Well, the reality in capitalism and where we live, everybody is not gonna, we get hit by an avalanche, right? And that's what's happening. It's like an avalanche of development, an avalanche of economic growth, and some people are gonna get hurt. The reality is we try to protect, cover, help as many people as we can so they could stay afloat, either by allowing them to purchase homes, purchase property, open their own business, and if they renting, how to own their business. We, from various workshops, the opportunities to democratize in the way we give out land in the city, to get more people access to the opportunity to have land, to build land, to own stuff in the community, and move from the 4 or 5 people that were usually getting it to now hundreds of people are able to. That's why you see development happening, infill development all over the city, because we've democratized it so much that everybody's out here trying to build, which is a good thing, and I think that's important. And also empowering nonprofits to have an opportunity to get their hands on some of this land and be more creative about how to do it than the city can. Like, so if the Urban League can sell 2-family homes for $150,000, $160,000, that's what we're talking about. That's what we need. We need them to do more of that, and so to empower them to continue to do those things is the way we keep people on the blocks that they were born and raised on, if they want to stay there, or folks that are in our community get an opportunity to be a part of the ecosystem that's growing here in the city, either through investing in art, investing in entrepreneurship and ownership, right, and investing in home ownership at the same time.
Very good. So moving on to healthcare. Ensuring the well-being of residents also extends to their health. So what initiatives is the city leading or actively supporting to address health disparities in Newark, improve access to quality healthcare services, and foster a healthier environment overall for all residents? So we did talk a little bit about that when we talked about public safety, but what are some other initiatives that we should be aware of?
I mean, one, we talked about briefly food. Food is important, and access to healthy and quality food. That's paramount to all the things that we're talking about here. When the SNAP benefits were attacked, obviously, I mean, we've been thinking about this for a while, but when the SNAP benefits were attacked, it forced us into crisis mode. So in a couple of hours, we stood up distribution centers across the city of Newark and fed tens of thousands of families, and gave out money during the SNAP crisis that we had, which is gonna kick in again during the midterms because Trump has pushed it off, right? Which is why we moved to stand up these 5 permanent hubs to give people access to quality food at affordable prices in the city with the help of nonprofits. Not through the city. So the way we're different from New York is that we're not gonna run the grocery store. You know, we having trouble running rec centers, but a grocery store. But at the end of the day, the nonprofits who've been doing the work should be empowered to continue to do that work, right? In conjunction with us, in a way that they can own it and run it with our support, with our seeding, with our seal to get it to happen and expand that. And through public-private relationships in cities and land that we own, begin to carve out spaces in these places, so there's low-cost grocery stores in these spaces as well. So I think local and with quality food, that's number one.
Okay.
Number two, I think that us continuing to we put a clinic right in the school at on South Orange Avenue, right next to Bradley Court. We have mobile units that go out. I mean, Ketlin, who does an awesome job in our health department. We have mobile units that go out in the street and stay in certain areas of the community and do basic health delivery services to the communities that are right there. And ultimately, I think the hospitals in the city and the medical environment in Newark has and is beginning to understand the necessity to build clinics, to put their hands in the neighborhoods, not just because the emergency rooms have been overcrowded, but also have shot the cost up of delivery of services to the consumer as well as the hospital, and trying to get people out of the emergency room into this kind of basic care system is the way to go. And I think people are beginning to understand that and develop a kind of medical infrastructure that shows that, or gives people the access to medical care immediately.
Okay.
As opposed to running into the emergency room.
That's great. Like being innovative, right? So healthcare is like economic opportunity. Healthcare, like economic opportunity, is profoundly impacted by education. From our youngest learners in pre-K to those pursuing higher education, how is the city collaborating with Newark Public Schools and local universities to create seamless educational pathways that effectively prepare Newark students for both higher education and the in-demand career opportunities within the city?
Well, I think where Newark is doing the best at, and I'll talk about some challenges, what we're doing the best at is creating pathways for folks to move on, right? That we have dual enrollment programs in the city of Newark that are doing awesome, you know, at Rutgers, at Essex County, at NJIT. We have a mayor scholarship program. We put students through Rutgers, NJIT, other colleges as well, colleges, St. Elizabeth University, all of these places. So we're doing a better job at moving kids from the high school to the university. Those pipelines are growing, even to the career. Those pipelines are growing, whether you're talking about the trades, now police and fire, certification programs, all those things are growing. Where some of our challenges is in the early grades, right? Some of our challenges exist in early childhood, that we have to get more of our kids in those seats in early childhood to get them to start school ready to learn, right? That's number one, to raise our third grade literacy scores in a way that allows kids to be competitive throughout high school and even further, because up to the third grade, you're learning how to read, but after the third grade, you're reading to learn. So the reality is you have to, and so we made a pledge on the city side to use all of our resources through Dr. Brown, the Comprehensive Continuing Education, our office, instead of talking about the whole school, K to 12, we're gonna focus on third grade. In this term, we're just gonna focus all of our energy on third grade literacy, trying to get our third graders to read, on grade level.
So my last question is an NRBP question, so I actually am gonna save that for last, but this is going off script because for this next question. You definitely are a mayor who is outside, right? Like you're just everywhere, right?
J to the one.
Right? And it's admirable, right? It's admirable, your accessibility and it's like from where I sit, to think of inviting you for an event and knowing that you're probably going to be there makes my job so much easier. But as the saying goes, behind every good man, there's a good woman. So my question is, because I work with your wife, we're both trustees at NJPAC, women at NJPAC. And so talk about the support that is provided to you on the home front to help your vision come to fruition.
Well, obviously I have children, so I mean it's important. Like before I came down, I left the Donuts with Dad thing at the school. Now I would have to go there, or I can't go home, right? So I mean, that's a fact. So I go home, but you gotta hear while you're home. You gotta hear that I didn't go to Donuts with Dads. But that's important, so it helps you keep balance, right? And that's more important than anything, because in reality, you can lose your mind and all this stuff. You need to be able to understand why these things are important, right? To come to these meetings and have these discussions with strangers and talk about all kinds of stuff that's going on. Why is it important that these things happen? Why is it important that we have decent health care, that our communities are safe, that there's no lead in our water, right? Because when we were going through the lead service crisis in the city, people don't remember that I also have a home, and I had an older home, and I had lead pipes as well. So the number one person that was telling me to fix the pipes was in my household, in my living room, saying, we got a baby in here and our pipes have lead in it. We want the lead out of our pipes, right? So it makes everything very real, right? So when you're talking about what's going on with third graders in school, I mean, just this whole debate about what schools you should go to, about early childhood and about second and third grade is very real. It's a real discussion. It's not like a discussion that's like ethereal, out in the air. This is something that's very concrete to me because these are discussions you have at dinner, like, violence, job opportunity, housing, all of that is very, very, very real. To me, I live on Shear Avenue in the South Ward, right? So the reality of what happens on Bergen Street is serious. Like, people drive past Bergen or drive up Elizabeth, and there's 50 people on the corner. I'm gonna get a call, there's 50 people on this block. So just that balance helps to keep things real. But the reality is this place can drive you crazy. It's just real. It make you tired. It's the insanity of it all, and the fighting, constant, everyday fighting. You're fighting somebody or something, whether it's folks around who might not like you, or the federal government itself, and all the infringement upon whatever it's in your address, or on TV, or on social media, or all of the things that's being said and so forth. It can make you depressed even, right? And so it's important to have somebody that's going to make you feel again like a man, right? Because these people tear you down to an extent that, it's easy. I know other mayors who walked away from this thing in the middle of COVID, who walked away because they couldn't do it. Their cities were burning, and they were going through COVID at the same time because of George Floyd. The conversation you have with mayors, especially black mayors, and the mental kind of anguish that they go through, because the expectations are always higher for everybody else. Like, I can't really, like, the things that I do and say might be criticized as opposed to somebody else could say it. I used to have debates even when I was running for governor, the way people could look. Like, some people could come on the stage and look any old kind of way. I gotta be very cognizant of, in debates, what I look like, right? I gotta be very cognizant of the words that I say. I gotta be very cognizant of all of those things, because when I do something, it's gonna be a lot worse than when somebody else does it. So those kind of discussions that you have with other mayors, and you listen, and then you figure out, why are we even doing this? Right? Like, what the heck? Are you crazy? Like, and so you need somebody in your household, right, that stands you back up. And I thank and applaud my wife for having the patience and the strength and the nerve even to try to stand me back up on days when I feel down.
So this is my final question before we open it up to the audience.
You're like a Baptist preacher.
Yes, I was raised Baptist. I did.
Do you say final 3 times?
I've learned very well. So,
in closing,
NRBP's mission is to support this vibrant business community and contribute to the city's prosperity, right? So that's what we're here to do. So from your perspective, other than us figuring out how we can get that video, right? Because we're gonna figure it out. Can we put it on our website? Because that's the easiest thing.
I don't own it, but yeah.
Who owns it? Do we know who owns it?
Yeah, probably Newark Alliance.
Oh, okay.
Newark Academy, yeah.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna put that on our website. So how can an NRBP best collaborate with your administration to support the city's strategic goals, identify emerging challenges, and foster an even more dynamic and inclusive business environment here in Newark?
I think, one, creating a space for, like you're doing for businesses, small businesses especially, and nonprofits, to be in the space and the ecosystem that we're creating in Newark, to populate some of these retail places, to help us create policy locally that would make that possible, even think tank, or create some of the ideas that you can feed us to help us create a better, more inviting business environment for smaller and mid-sized businesses, as well as nonprofits in our city. I think there are things that are happening in Newark. People are getting excited and putting the cart before the horse in the business community, and I think it's time for folks to get together and really strategize how to make this thing happen and become more inclusive of a lot of these startups and small businesses that are happening in this community, right? We don't have to chase big business or chains. We don't have to chase them and raise the rent so high because we think the chains are coming and the businesses are coming. We have to be okay with helping smaller businesses start themselves off in the city and grow and create the diversity and culture in this community like you would in any small suburban community. We need that in our city. The diversity of business is what makes Newark poppin'. You know what I mean? You know what poppin' means, right?
I do. They teach us that in Baptist church.
That's right.
Okay, so Mayor Brockett, thank you for those comprehensive and insightful responses. This has been an incredibly informative discussion. So now I'm going to open it up to the audience. We do have one mic here, and there's the other one there. So if you have a question, you can stand up and walk to the closest mic, and we'll get this going. Let me see how much time we got.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for the conversation. My question, sorry, I'll take you on a little time. My question is in regard to storytelling. And this is for you, Mr. Mayor, and Belinda. What are your thoughts on establishing a proper ecosystem of storytelling around the work being done to create and nurture a thriving city? Mayor, you mentioned that it's not just the job of the press to tell the story, and you also started a conversation mentioning the value of collaboration among nonprofit organizations for the good of the city. So in regard to communicating the good that's being done and the challenges that stand in the way of that work, do you see a solution in the form of an ecosystem of storytelling?
100%. I mean, even on the city side, we just been trying to change the way we do that, like just leaning more. But when I first came into office, I was like, and probably still allergic to like the press and TV and cameras and video. I'm like an introvert, really. So at the end of the day, I don't like all of that. People follow me around with cameras. It bothers me, and it has bothered me for some time. But watching all these new politicians and elected officials doing their thing on social media makes me jealous. So I'm like, I need a camera. And so we started doing better at that, and then Gabby, who was our policy advisor, has been getting more folks to really present what's going on from their own point of view, a story. And I think ultimately on the other side that we need more storytellers out here. If an ecosystem is created, I think that would be beneficial, not just to the city proper, but to all of the businesses, the organizations, the folks that are growing. It brings more people to the town, and we have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, I guess what I would like to add to that is like the storytelling, there's the written piece, there's the digital piece, but there's also the word of mouth. And when I talk to people about working in Newark, I live out in the suburbs, I live actually in Morris County, and this is how come I know. They have this knee-jerk reaction. You work in Newark, you like working in Newark. You have to change the narrative right then and there. Like you have to say, yes, I love working in Newark and this is why.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you were in Newark? You really have to engage people in that conversation. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to do that if you want to change the perspective and the perception. It starts with word of mouth.
Yeah. Invite them to the Asian coffee shop. Or the Cuban one.
Like I said, navigating New York is all about that. It's about getting out and seeing what the city is all about.
We got it.
Okay.
Excuse my back.
Don't get me turn around too far, man.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna fall down.
We're doing yoga exercises.
Hello, my name is Christian Jones. I am amongst many things a Newark native, born and raised here myself, just like the mayor, many other people here. I'm also an ambassador at Equal Space, and I run the Angel Network, which is a nonprofit run here in the city. Something that stuck out to me was the programs that you mentioned were the programs that you were running that advocated for New Yorkers to go out and explore the city and engage with Newark. I, being someone who was from here, got to see what it was like at younger stages of my career where there wasn't much going on in the city. I've now got to live and experience things like the Culture Club opening up, the various activations we have going on for the cultural stuff we have hosted even over at Equal Space. I want to ask you, what's your perspective on the role that third place activations play in engaging youth workers and old school workers, people who've been here for a long time, to be able to see each other as parts of the same community? That's
an incredibly dope question there. Dope means good. Need translation. But the reason I say that, because space is so important and so underrated. Like, most people, they have two spaces, home and work. The third space is critically important because the third space you do deliberately. You go there intentionally. You're not forced to go there. You're there trying to experience yourself, grow yourself. Like a lot of people, churches in our community, church was their third space. They spent their entire time in church, in the church basement, in the church kitchen, you know what I mean? Going to church events, because that's their third space. Like the church in our community is still big, but it's not as big as it was. And so other spaces become incredibly important, especially for young people who are trying to develop and find themselves, their artistic self, their personal self, their business self. So all these spaces that are created helps them to do that and find a niche for themselves in the city. So a place like Equal Space, or Project for Empty Space, or all these spaces that exist in the city, right, creates opportunities for people to gather, right, on purpose.
Right, yeah.
Right, on purpose, and find themselves there and be a part of what's going on. So when people are financing stuff or giving money, philanthropic organizations, they should be helping these third spaces grow, right? Because those are the things that are going to transform the city in perpetuity, not people that are sitting in the hall, in an office in City Hall, but people that are in these third spaces imagining what Newark could look like, 25 years from now.
I like that answer.
If I feel shameless plug, Evolution Culture, the open mic, the second longest running open mic in the city of Newark. One of the beautiful third places where I found myself as an actor and second. So big ups to Newark for hosting us.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for your leadership and for your vision. You've transformed the city and continued that journey, and I appreciate it. I'm Lisa Block, and I'm here on behalf of JBS New Jersey, which is doing workforce development, retraining in entry-level healthcare fields and other fields and extensive career services, and serves a lot of people from Newark and the greater Essex and the region. You named violence as a public health crisis years ago and galvanized the city to lead what has become, it's an incredible story replicated throughout cities throughout the country. And I'm so proud to have been involved in that. I see now economic insecurity and the inability of people in this city and others who are at the margins to thrive and have sustainable pathways to meaningful employment, to careers, because of so many barriers and from being disenfranchised. And I feel that your additional leadership is needed here and among this group to open doors to investment and hiring people who are not not at the top of their game, people who have to be supported through the journey. Mental health, childcare, all these things matter, but having doors open in companies to these folks and exposing young children, adolescents to careers in a meaningful way. This, I think you could do a lot more for, and I would like to hear more about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. The reality is, we have to create opportunities for folks that are, like you said, on the margins here in the city of Newark, outside of just re-entry programs that we've created. We've done Newark 2020. We galvanized the corporations in the city to hire Newark residents. We hired about 3,000 residents during that, having the infrastructure to keep that going. over the years and not just do it over 1 or 2 years. It's something a challenge that we have to be able to figure out how to make these corporations continue to do that, and organizations even in here, and use workforce to get people trained to be able to do these jobs. We train a lot of folks in the city of Newark, but there's not like all these warehouses and warehouse jobs that don't pay, and there's not enough of them, and we need businesses in our community that are here to be amenable to hiring Newark residents, right? And hiring Newark residents, as was stated, who might not have a perfect resume. Look, we took 50 kids that had a 2.5 GPA or lower, right? Who had a background of violence in their family or themselves involved in violence, and we put them at the St. Elizabeth University, right? I went to most of their graduation this May from college, right? So some of those kids was like on a dean's list and all kinds of stuff like that, who would have never ever been to college before. And most of them, when you talk to them, the first thing they want to do is come back to Newark. That's the first thing they want to do. I want to come back to Newark. I want to help somebody because somebody helped me. That's the first thing on their mind and their heart. So the same kind of idea about trying to help people who you may not, it may not fit the characteristics of what you think is going to be successful in your company. You'd be surprised, because the innovation is deeply hidden in folks that are struggling in our community every day, because they have to be creative to make it from day to day. Right. And so it's important for us to find that resilience and that character and feed it and give people the training that they need and open up to these jobs. I'm glad that was raised, so I think it is important that we put a little bit of elbow grease in trying to create an ecosystem to provide opportunity for more of these folks in here outside of DPW and warehouse jobs.
Right.
No, I think actually, yeah, my question is actually a follow-up to the one that you just asked. So good morning, Mayor. I'm Darren Kenny, Regional Executive Director for Hope Works, one of today's event sponsors. Pleased to be here. My question is a follow-up to the one that was just asked. And specifically to your point about the warehouses and companies that are around here who are not willing to pay the town here in Newark. So what incentives or partnerships do you think would encourage more Newark employers to invest in higher starting wages and clear career pathways for opportunity youth or young people in general entering the workforce?
I mean, there's an incentive package we have to create around maybe the payroll tax and some other kind of things that we have to figure out, that we've been thinking about and have not figured out how to do it in a way that's not going to kill us right now. I think that would incentivize folks hiring Newark residents, a certain number of Newark residents per company. That would give you a break on the payroll tax. We got to get permission from the state probably to do that. But at the end of the day, I think that's a part of some of the things we've been throwing around out there. And also making sure that they have access to workforce organizations, have access to their HR folks, so they can see that they're training people that are prepared for the jobs that are available, right? And then it's not walking in off the street, that there's somebody that's training them and bringing them to these people and saying, this is what we need, right? So when we did Newark 2020, we worked directly with the HR community at the corporation. So the HR there worked directly with our folks at the city, so they can say, these are the jobs we're looking for. Like, so it's just not like, hodgepodge. I'm just show up in there and cross my fingers. This is what we need. These are the skill sets that we're looking for. These are the type of people we want you to send to us, so they can begin preparing folks and sending them there, so the chances of them getting a job was a lot higher than it was. Because you don't want to make people feel like they're taking in somebody just for, charity or something. You want them to understand that they're taking somebody on that can add value to their company, add value to their program, right? And so, you have to look at it that way. When we train people, the training that we give them has to be commensurate to the skill set that the business is looking for. And the only way you do that is you have to have a direct conversation with the folks in HR. And we just have to be able to create that ecosystem like that here. We did it once for a program that we didn't make systematic in the city, and we have to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Rob. My name is Denise Williams. ask you, since we have so many different people in the room, what is one problem the city is facing, and what specific task would you ask each one of us in the room to do based on the industry?
What problem the city is facing and what
What
happened?
the biggest challenge you're facing right now, and what specific task would you like anyone in the room to actually do?
Well, there's multiple, multiple problems that we have, and I would love to put all you folks to work immediately and helping us solve them. I think food access is like one of the #1 issues that we have, and I think it's going to become worse after this big ugly bill becomes uglier. That's going to be a major problem for us, and just figuring out how to get food to people's children, because ultimately those are the people that are going to be hurt the most. Get food to families at a cost that they can afford, and emergency kind of food at that is one of our #1 issues in the city. Housing is always a long-standing and growing issue in our community. It is always going to be in this environment as inflation keeps rising and the cost of housing keeps growing. The cost of building keeps getting higher, and the more people who need housing with less housing production is going to keep those prices at that rate for a very, very, very long time. God forbid you want to buy a home, right? So that is those are two serious problems that we have in the city. And the last one, which was what was talked about, which was access to jobs, right? Because when people talk about affordable housing, they never talk about increasing wages. They always talk about building housing that's affordable for people who are making wages of 20 years ago. As the economy continues to grow, your wages stay the same. That means the dollar that you have has less worth, right? And so you can't buy anything on the market because you're still making a wage that's not commensurate to what's going on in the economy. So jobs at a wage that is affordable. We had to raise everybody's wages that work in the city up past the minimum wage of the state, so they can at least make $40,000 a year. I mean, there were people in Newark working at like $28,000, $30,000. You know, I don't know how you feed a family this way. We had to raise everybody at least $40,000 so they can afford the affordable housing that the city's saying is affordable, right? So at least the workers that work at City Hall can afford the affordable housing, right? And so housing is always, all of those things are going to be an issue for us, and they continue to be. So I would implore people to help us build more affordable housing, right? To hire Newark residents, to give them the training and skills that they need so Newark residents can work in these spaces so they can afford the things that are going on. If you're in the food security space, to help us create opportunities to give people access to food or low-cost supermarkets or low-cost markets across the city, which we are building and at a very fast rate, by the way. So those three areas are incredibly important to us.
Very good. Well, so that's it for us today. So thank you again for your time, for your insight. This was great. I want to thank our sponsors, Essex County College, United Airlines, Popular Bank, HopeWorks, and Verizon. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. And we do have an event next week, the Real Estate Market Forum on the 24th. It's a breakfast as well, and it'll be at 33 Bosch. And Audible is our host sponsor for that event. So hopefully we'll see all of you next week. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.
See you.
All right.